Okay, you may want to sit down for this, but then get right back up because there are some crazy cool new findings that implicate exercise in optimizing the soul system within our body, which connects and provides instant communication to every other area. Doing this in a new way than ever before observed. I mean, I haven't been this dumbfounded by a scientific finding since, well,
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
now you know what level we're on. Let's go. Yo, 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 what is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health. My name is Kevin. I run liftandbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and longevity and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic way. Today we are re-entering the echo chamber on why exercise is magic. And I know what you're thinking.
We know.
Because daily badonkadonking has a long scientific history of doing the body good. Not only strengthening muscles, densifying bones, massaging the cardiovascular system into better efficiency, improving sleep, enhancing mitochondria function, strengthening the immune system, heightening focus, and making us feel effing awesome via a cocktail of biochemical goodness for the rest of the day. All things we've covered in detail across what has to be 20 to 30 exercise-focused videos on this channel. But this new data actually highlights something new. A bimodal effect which sheds more light on why subjecting ourselves to 20 to 30 minutes of heart-pumping suffering really is so beneficial for our present-day health and long-term vitality. And it all tracks back to some of the most important and complex cells that we have. Our neurons. And broader nervous system. You know, that 100 billion plus node network which facilitates milli and nanosecond communication between every other system in the body. Yeah, kind of important. Not only do those 80 billion or so neurons in our noggin allow us to do all that nifty thinking to get us in and out of sticky situations, but tens of billions more coordinate every single biological action we consciously pursue, and many more we don't. Being autonomic or automatic in function. The most relevant analogy here may be that the nervous system is our body's equivalent to the internet. And imagine your life without the internet. You know, now that I think of it, well, let's just go with it. Because any good vibes you get from disconnecting quickly disappear when you're cut off from basic living needs, like one-day shipping. Tell me about it. Something that our nervous system is seeing more and more of as a byproduct of modern Western lifestyle norms. You know, the 24/7 ultra-processed eating, extreme sedentary lifestyle, chronic disaligned deprived sleep, chemicals and pharmaceuticals galore, severe nature deficit, and non-stop stress, as diseases and conditions of the nervous system have become more and more prevalent, being at the root of longevity killers such as chronic pain and cognitive decline. And get this, a recent study published in The Lancet, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, so take that as you will, suggested that 1/3 of the global population was dealing with a neurological condition as recent as 2021. Damn is right. And if you're wondering what exactly is a neurological condition, some of the most common are autoimmune conditions such as multiple sclerosis and Bell's palsy, infections and injuries, vascular and seizure disorders, and of course the growing problem of neurodegeneration, all being driven and accelerated by dysfunction of neurons. That being said, there's something very important you need to know about your nervous system as well. It's pretty freaking resilient, as we've discussed across many of our neurological deep dives. Because not only is it long-lasting, but it's also very capable of creating new connections and pathways to continue function after an injury or disease impact. Even in some cases creating new adult-born neurons from stem cells. Something that science didn't think was possible for much of scientific history. Now, these adult-born neurons are rare, and they've only been observed in distinct areas, but they certainly are a thing. All of this points to building a strategy which both preserves, protects, and makes your existing 130 billion or so neurons more resilient, while increasing your odds, likelihood, and probability of neurogenesis if needed. Something this new study sheds a light on like never before. Researchers out of MIT sought to map out the lingering unknowns by which physical activity regulates intertissue communication. And remember, the master cells of this communication are neurons. To do this, they leveraged a mouse and in vitro or out-of-body Petri dish model, observing that when muscles contract during exercise, they release a soup of biochemical signals called myokines, or compounds such as cytokines and peptides, which caused neurons to grow 4 times further compared to neurons that were not exposed to myokines. Huh. You don't say. Sounds like a way to make neurons more resilient and far-reaching to me. See what I did there? Far-reaching. Moving on. Now, you may be thinking, didn't we kind of already know this? And the answer is yes, we kind of did. This observed exercise-induced nerve growth has in fact been previously documented in different models. Alright, so where's the new news? Right here. While exploring if the physical components of exercise alone had any impact on nerve function, researchers isolated neuronal cells to cultures outside the body and subjected them to exercise-like movement. And surprisingly, they observed that neurons responded to this physical stimulation without the presence of myokines or anything else, growing just as much as to when they were exposed to the muscle's myokines. Whoa, so you're saying there's a bimodal chance. The researchers concluded that this study is the first to show that the physical effects of exercise can be just as important as the biochemical ones. Now, reminding you that this was a mouse and Petri dish model, and that obviously more research is needed to tease out these complex and nuanced pathways, I can't help but wonder, how does this impact our strategy to promote neuronal prosperity in our own life? Great question. And I have to start that answer by reminding you that our neurons are freaking resilient. Mainly because they have to be. Because most of them are lifelong neurons, meaning they date back to our embryonic days. Talk about true best friends. However, as alluded to before, they tend to be more resilient when they are put in an environment to operate efficiently. An environment filled with the biochemical bliss of myokines, neurotropic factors, endorphins, endocannabinoids, and low inflammation. So, the true secret to prosperity likely correlates closely to creating this environment and sustaining it for as long as humanly possible. Sounds pretty simple, right? But our modern Western lifestyle norms beg to differ, as those standard habits outlined earlier cultivate an inflammatory and inefficient environment. An environment that primes those very neurological disease conditions to prosper. So, how do we do the opposite? Because that sounds like what we want to do. Well, for one, as we saw today, a good place to start is by moving your badonkadonk, as exercise not only promotes the secretion of myokines, which regulate glucose uptake and insulin sensitivity, promote browning of white adipose tissue, boost bone formation and density, and exert anti-inflammatory effects, it also stimulates the release of neurotrophic factors such as BDNF and MDNF, which act as fertilizer for neurons, priming them to form new connections or strengthen existing ones. But wait, there's more. Remember those endorphin things I mentioned before? Yeah, it stimulates them too. These are the feel-good neurochemicals which you can thank for that oh-so-common good mood after a workout. Finally, it helps regulate pain downwards with the release of in-house endocannabinoids. All things modern pharmaceuticals hasn't come close to replicating. I mean, if you're not convinced to start moving your ass by that list, then There is no convincing you. We'll keep trying though. Moving on, I bet you're not surprised to hear that what you eat matters too. Not only because real foods are key for keeping your mitochondria healthy and inflammation at bay. Neurons are one of the most mitochondria-dense cells you have, by the way. But these nutrients and phytonutrients, including vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, flavonoids, anthocyanins, and essential fatty acids, are critical for building the cell structure and maintaining the protective buffer around the axons of neurons called myelin sheaths, insulating them from external damage. All things, might I add, ultra-processed foods do the opposite of. So yeah. Adding a strategic time-restricted eating protocol can help as well, as consuming all of your energy during the daylight hours and performing a 14+ hour overnight fast, something known as circadian eating, has also displayed promising cellular and metabolic boosting effects. And remember, neurons happen to be one of the most metabolically active cell types we have. Just saying. Again. Another non-negotiable for neuronal prosperity is high-quality circadian aligned sleep, as deep sleep, which is optimized between the hours of 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., is the only time the key brain detoxification pathway, the glymphatic system, is turned on, washing away neurotoxic waste to preserve and optimize function for the next day. This is one of the reasons why chronically disaligned, deprived sleep is associated with so many neurological conditions. If interested, we have much more on this pathway here. Another big detractor of nervous system function is stress, specifically the chronic activation of the fight or flight nervous system, otherwise known as the sympathetic nervous system. And don't let that name fool you, because it is anything but that, as chronic overactivation here can lead to structural changes in the brain, a disrupted balance of neurotransmitters, impaired cognitive function, and increase the risk of developing mental health issues. So, de-stressing or deploying good stress management habits, like the ones discussed before, along with nasal breathing, more nature, as well as meditation and mindfulness, as we discussed here. Once again, it all comes down to putting your body in a position to do its thing. You have all the biological pieces you need to feel like an effing organic rock star each and every day. To have your neuronal network firing on all cylinders and thus feeling how you're capable of feeling here and now and over the long run. Giving you the tackling fuel to, well, tackle life the way you deserve to. Oh, and don't forget to hydrate. Weird. I don't know why that just popped into my head.